She looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm pregnant, but it's not yours," with the same coldness as if she were reading a grocery list. She thought I was a broken man with nowhere to go, a construction worker who had lost his job and his savings. She didn't know that for months, I had been playing a game of my own. I wasn't just losing a wife, I was uncovering a betrayal so deep it reached back 3 years. This is the story of why I didn't scream, I didn't beg, and I didn't fight. I just smiled, tossed a white envelope on the table, and walked out of a life that was never mine to begin with. My name is Jeremy. For years, I believed I was the backbone of a happy American family. I worked grueling hours in construction, coming home with dirt under my fingernails and a heart full of purpose, all to provide for my wife, Victoria, and our 3-year-old son. But lately, the air in our home had turned cold. Whenever I had a rare day off, Victoria developed a sudden urgency to leave. Grocery runs turned into 4-hour marathons, meeting a friend became a vague excuse she'd snap at me for questioning. Nobody talks about this particular pain, the slow, agonizing realization that the person you share a bed with is becoming a stranger. You start to wonder if they are restless because of the walls, or because of you. I decided to stop guessing and start testing. I sat her down and told her a lie that would act as a mirror to her soul. I told her I'd lost my job and a bad investment had wiped out our savings. Her reaction wasn't concern or a promise to figure it out together. It was ice. "And what do you want me to do about it?" she asked. In that one sentence, my value in her eyes evaporated. I wasn't her partner anymore, I was a broken tool. She began treating me like I was beneath her, leaving at odd hours and coming back without a word of explanation. I played the part of the struggling, defeated husband, letting her show me exactly who she was when the money stopped. I spent months enduring her contempt, watching her buy new clothes while claiming we were broke. I was waiting for the final straw, but I never expected her to hand it to me with such brutal honesty. The months of cold shoulders and dismissive glares culminated in a single evening that felt like a scene from a nightmare. Victoria sat me down, looking almost bored, and delivered a double blow. "I'm pregnant," she said, before adding the dagger, "but it's not yours." She assumed I was so desperate, so broke and jobless, that I would swallow my pride just to keep a roof over my head. Instead of breaking, I smirked. The confusion on her face was worth every second of the silence I'd kept. I reached into a drawer and tossed a plain white envelope onto the table. "Open it," I said. As she slid the papers out, the color drained from her face. It was the paternity test for our 3-year-old. The results proved he wasn't mine either. Nobody talks about the pain of realizing your entire history of fatherhood was a carefully crafted deception. I had raised a child that wasn't mine, while she sat there plotting her next move with another man. "You thought you could just tell me you're pregnant with another man's child and I'd accept it?" I asked, standing up. I revealed my own secret. I wasn't broke. I had already secured a massive construction deal overseas and was leaving the country in less than a week. Suddenly, the Ice Queen began to melt into a puddle of panic. She realized she had no leverage, no money, and no safety net. But her attempt to manipulate her way back into my life was just beginning. The next morning, the cold, distant woman I had lived with for months was gone. In her place was a loving wife who smiled, offered coffee, and tried to hold my hand, gestures that had been dead for years. It wasn't love. It wasn't regret. It was pure, unadulterated fear. She was afraid of losing the security I provided, especially since she knew Daddy wouldn't be sticking around to pay the bills. She tried to weaponize our memories, bringing up old vacations and the times I'd held her through her struggles. She claimed she'd made a mistake because of stress. But I saw through the act. If I were actually jobless and struggling, she'd still be stepping over me to get to the door. She didn't need me, she needed my stability. Nobody talks about the pain of watching someone you love try to use your own kindness against you. It's a special kind of heartbreak to realize your partner sees you only as a transaction. She even broke down in tears, crying that she couldn't raise 2 kids alone. I stayed silent. I had already booked my tickets and secured my documents. I was done being the backup plan for her infidelity. She thought she had a week to break me down with nostalgia. She didn't know that my flight was leaving in 48 hours, and I was moving in total, calculated silence. The night before my flight, I moved like a ghost. While Victoria slept, blissfully unaware that her safety net was about to vanish, I packed the last of my things. I had been slowly moving my belongings out for days. There were no final arguments, no dramatic speeches, no one last looked to see if I'd changed my mind. I walked out the door and didn't look back. As the plane lifted off the runway, the roar of the engines felt like the first breath of fresh air I'd taken in years. Watching the city shrink beneath me, I finally let out that slow, steady breath. I was free. For months, I had endured the humiliation of being treated like trash in my own home, all while knowing the truth she thought she was hiding. Nobody talks about the pain of playing along, of acting broken when you are actually the one holding all the cards. But the victory wasn't in the money or the new job. It was in the indifference. I didn't hate her. I didn't want revenge. I just didn't care anymore. She was a stranger's problem now. I was leaving behind the man who thought love meant sacrificing his dignity. For any man out there feeling like a walking paycheck, an afterthought in his own home, listen closely. There is a way out, but it requires a strength you haven't used yet. If you are stuck in a marriage where you are only acknowledged when it's convenient, or only loved when you are useful, you need to understand something: that isn't love. It's a transaction. The biggest mistake we make is tying our existence to someone who would replace us the second things get rough. The moment Victoria believed I was broke, her true colors came out. That was my real education. Don't waste your breath trying to get her to see your worth. A woman who doesn't respect you will never truly love you. If she chooses you only when you have security, she isn't choosing you, she's choosing the lifestyle. Stop trying to fix what was built on a lie. Instead, plan. Move in silence. Protect your finances and your future. Nobody talks about the pain of walking away, but they also don't talk about the peace on the other side. When you show you can live without her, she will suddenly want to fight for the family, but by then, you'll be gone. I didn't get revenge, my freedom was the only win I needed. There is nothing sweeter than walking away with your dignity intact while they are left with nothing but the regret of what